Hello and welcome, it's Jennifer. Today's video is going to show you how to do coloring on both vellum and cardstock using shimmer pens. I'll be using both the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens and the Wink of Stella shimmer pens. So I'll talk about both of those, especially at the end of the video. I'm going to talk about those. And I have to apologize. Have you ever had one of those times when you went to sit down to make a card and things just didn't come together? You were fumbling a lot and just kind of struggling here and there. Well, that's what I had happen to me today. So bear with me through this video. It is longer because I do talk about the markers at the end and show you all the colors available. Okay, but right now I want to go ahead and jump into creating these cards, and I'm doing 2 cards on cardstock and 2 cards on vellum. So I'll talk about the differences I did. On both of them, I did top folding 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch note cards. And if you use a heavyweight vellum, you can actually make a note card out of vellum. So this is 40-pound vellum from Basil. Now, I did plan out where I wanted to stamp my flowers on the card. And this is like my practice run here, and my little 3-year-old colored it in. But I just did super quick stamping to kind of plan where I want the flowers to be. This stamp set is from Whimsy Stamps. I really like it. I like the sentiments in it and how just simple and beautiful these flowers are. You can stamp layers of flowers together or color them in like I am doing today. I have placed my practice sheet into my Mini Misty stamping tool, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And I'm lining the stamps up with where I stamped them on that practice sheet. This just takes the guesswork out of making sure I get good placement. I'm going to be making 4 cards. That's why the Misty stamping tool is helpful to me here. You could do all of these cards by using just an acrylic block if you don't have this stamping tool, but I find it's very helpful. So now that I have my 2 daisies ready in their place that I want them, I'm going to go ahead and put my top folding note card into the Mini Misty and go ahead and stamp with black VersaFine ink. Now I'm doing black VersaFine ink because I want to heat emboss this. So I want heat embossing today, and to get a black heat embossed image, I don't like using black powder. I find it to be messy. So instead I use a VersaFine black pigment ink, which stays wet for a bit, and then I add clear powder on top. And this gives the look of a black heat embossed image. So I'm going to do that on 2 of the cardstock pieces. And then on the vellum, I'm going to instead do some white heat embossing. So I've cleaned my stamp offs really good. I don't want any of that black ink on there anymore. My stamps are stained, but that's okay. And I'm going to go ahead and use an anti-static powder tool on my vellum so that I don't get powder where I don't want it. Now I am inking it up with Versamark ink, which is a clear sticky ink, and pressing that down onto the vellum. You can see that this Misty saves me a lot of time because I get great stamping and placement on all of the cards. However, you could again use just an acrylic block if that's what you have. So now I'm just going to put some white embossing powder on it and heat set that. So now I have 2 vellum cards and 2 cardstock cards. Now it's time to do some masking. So I'm going to be overlapping 2 flowers and also stamping a stem below each flower. So I am stamping these flowers just very quickly onto a Post-it note. But this is a special kind of Post-it note that's in the entire back of it is covered with that stickiness. So these are great for masking. Very inexpensive. I highly recommend it because there's a lot on a pad, and you can use it for most size images, anything that's that size or smaller. To save time, I didn't cut out the whole image. I just cut out the portion that I needed to mask. And I always cut on the inside of the stamped edge. That allows your images to overlap just slightly and not have a gap. Okay, so I've positioned my 2 masks down. I'm going to put the stem on this little flower over here because this flower is by itself. I actually want the stem to kind of hang off the edge of the card, so I'm moving my card or my vellum up towards the top corner of the Misty. So you can move your card around in the Misty to allow things to hang off the edge. I'm also going to go ahead and do my 3rd small flower there on the right. I'm doing the stamping the same way I did before with the Versamark and white embossing powder on the vellum cards and the black VersaFine and clear powder on the cardstock cards. With all this masking, this does take me a bit of time because I'm making 4 cards. But if you create just one, it really doesn't take that long at all. Okay, so now I have my 3 flowers and 1 stem, but I need to leave some room for a sentiment. And if you look there on the bottom, I have a sentiment, but I don't have the stems going through it. So we're going to do a little bit more masking here. I really like to use masking for a sentiment when you have a busy background and you want to keep your card one layer. For the two vellum cards, I'm using this Mother sentiment along with the thinner line sentiments from the same Whimsy stamp set. So I'll be stamping this with Versamark ink and white heat embossing it on the vellum cards. Now I only needed 2 Mother's Day cards, so I decided to instead use a different stamp set for the other 2 cards. I'm going to be using a Blessed sentiment from this Right at Home stamp set. This is a newer stamp set and I really like the sentiments in it. And I'm actually going to team up the word blessed here from one of the thinner line sentiments in that Whimsy stamp set. I really like to mix and match sentiments from different sets. It gives you different looks and allows you to get more out of your stamp sets. So here I'm using the Blessed to stamp with the black VersaFine ink, and then I'll clear emboss that onto the cards. You can also see in the same way I stamped and heat embossed that thinner sentiment that says, "I am thankful for you every day," onto the cards. Okay, so now that I have my sentiments all done, I'm going to create quick masks for them. So I stamped the exact same sentiments onto those Post-it notes. And remember, these Post-it notes have the sticky on the back side, the entire back side, so it stays put. Really handy to have. So I'm putting that mask over my sentiment, and then I can go ahead and add the stems to the other 2 flowers. This way my stems don't overlap with the sentiments. Now if you wanted to save time, you could just glue a piece of cardstock down with the sentiments right on top of your flowers, or you could put maybe a word die cut greeting on there, but I really like the look of having that sentiment part of that 1-layer background. So I did this for all 4 of the cards, and I noticed I got some black ink where I didn't want it onto the cardstock. I highly recommend having a sanding eraser like the one I have here. I'll link to the one I use. You just can rub off that ink and nobody will ever know. It saves the day all the time for me. Okay, so now it's time to put these cards together. So if you notice here, the flowers kind of hang off the side of the cards. This is a fun trick and a great way to really do more with your stamping. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this into my trimmer and I'm cutting a 1/2 inch off the edges, but I'm not cutting through that stamped image. So I'm cutting everywhere up to the stamped image and beyond it. So here I'll do it again. I'm going to drop my trimmer down, cut up to the flower and then past it. So I'm cutting a 1/2 inch off each side, but allowing that flower to hang off. So I'm going to go ahead and trim around those flowers on the edge too. By the way, that's the new Fiskars trimmer that has like a metal guide, so it cuts nice and straight. I have a review of those trimmers coming up soon, so I'll talk about those soon in a video. So here I am just cutting the flowers around the edge. So I did this with both cardstock pieces and both vellum pieces, and you can see the difference that you get between that cardstock and vellum, completely different looks. Okay, so now I'm going to do the coloring, and I wanted to have shimmer coloring on both the vellum and the cardstock, so I decided to use 2 different products today and kind of compare them a little bit. I'm using the Spectrum Noir shimmer pens, which are a little bit newer, and the Wink of Stella shimmer pens, which I've been using for a long time. So I'm going to first show you them in action, talk a little bit about the differences I found, and at the end I'll compare them a bit more, show you how to go about opening them, and also the different colors there are. I'm going to show you a few coloring techniques with these. In this one, I'm showing how to take a dark color and then the clear shimmer pen to pull that color out and kind of soften it. I decided to use Spectrum Noir here, but you could use Wink of Stella too if you wanted to. I'm first coloring down with the dark pink Spectrum Noir pen, and then I'm using the clear Spectrum Noir pen to kind of pull that color out towards the tip and giving it a softer look towards the tip. You want to move kind of quick with this because you don't want that pink to completely dry so that you can pull the color out. If you want to extend the amount of time that you have to pull that color out, you could do this on watercolor paper and that would really help. If you don't have the colored Spectrum Noir shimmer pens or the colored Wink of Stella, you could put down maybe like a Tombow marker and then blend that out with the clear shimmer pen. So both Wink of Stella and Spectrum Noir have the clear shimmer pens, and they're great for doing blending like this, like kind of like a watercolor look, but very controlled, or just going over a stamped image. And I'll talk about the comparison between the 2 clear shimmer pens later in this video. I do find that the Spectrum Noir colored shimmer pens kind of move better for this technique, but you can use the zig if you want to. Now, what's hard to see in the video is that this is super shiny. These pens have a lot of shimmer to it. It's beautiful, it stays put, and it really grabs the attention. I'll kind of tilt it in the light a little bit in a moment, but you can see the shimmer in the picture here. Here's another way to use these shimmer pens. In this case, I'm kind of blending one color into the next. So I'm actually using an orange Spectrum Noir pen and blending it with a yellow Wink of Stella pen. So you can use them together. So I'm first putting down the orange, and then I'm taking that yellow, overlapping it very quickly and pulling it out towards the tip. And look at that beautiful color you get. And this is super shimmery. Now, I will say, as I mentioned before, that this does work better on a watercolor paper. I'm using just a regular Nina white cardstock here. You could use any white cardstock for this. But if you did it on watercolor paper, you would get even better results. Here's a piece of watercolor paper. You can see how wet that Spectrum Noir goes down. And now this is the Wink of Stella, and you can see how much of that color pulls together. So you could try it on either. I didn't really want the thickness of a watercolor paper today, so I just did it on regular cardstock, and you can see it works out just fine. Here's another way you can do some colorful coloring with these shimmer pens. Here I've just colored a flower to be blue with some of those shimmer pens. And now I'm taking a clear shimmer pen, touching it to the tip of a purple shimmer pen, just to pick up a tiny bit of that purple and add it towards the center of the flower. You can do this to get lighter colors and just add a little color here and there. It doesn't damage the tip of your clear shimmer pen because you can just scribble off the color on some scrap paper. This was a great way to add just a little bit of that dark purple onto this blue flower. I really like how vibrant and shimmery these turn out. But remember, you could use your watercolors with the clear shimmer pens if you want to, and I'll link to some videos that show that at the end of this video. Okay, so now that I've shown you the coloring on the cardstock, I wanted to show you the coloring on some vellum cards. So here I'm taking the blue Spectrum Noir, and I'm going to pull that color out once again with the clear shimmer pen. Now notice I'm using the Spectrum Noirs more in this video. That's because this is my first time experimenting with them. I've used the Wink of Stella ones many times, but you could use your Wink of Stella for this example also. The nice thing about working on the vellum is it doesn't absorb into the paper right away. So you have a lot of time to get the color you want or the results you want, blending them together. You can add other color in if you want to. You'll notice that some of that blue I'm kind of taking off the vellum with my clear shimmer pen and kind of putting on the scrap paper on the side. So you get a lot of time to add this color on the vellum, which I really think is a huge advantage. And this does eventually dry. I just set it aside to dry for a while, and that color stays put, and you get that beautiful shimmer too. It's really actually, I thought, more fun to color on the vellum than it was to do on the cardstock. I like that you can move it around a bit, and you end up with that beautiful shimmer on that see-through vellum. Another fun thing about working on the vellum is that you can dab away some of the color if you get too much in different places or if the color builds up on your white embossing powder. So I just kind of dab it with a dry cloth. I don't want to smear it because it'll just spread the color around, but you can dab some of it away if you want to soften it. Now check out the shimmer that you get with this on both the vellum and the cardstock. It's super shimmery. You could use either the Wink of Stella or the Spectrum Noir once again on the vellum, and they give beautiful results. So earlier on cardstock, I showed you blending like a pinkish orange color Spectrum Noir pen together with a yellow Wink of Stella pen. And that's what I'm doing here on the vellum. And you can see that you don't have to hurry as much because that color, the first color, doesn't dry onto the vellum very quickly. So you can easily blend these together and get some beautiful color combinations. I actually like to use the two types of markers together because they have different color palettes, so I can really get what I want. But again, you could use like a Tombow marker and the clear Wink of Stella to get some color blending on vellum also. I had been getting a lot of questions about these Spectrum Noir shimmer pens, so I wanted to make sure that I covered them in a video. And again, I'm going to talk more about these at the end of this video, but first I want to wrap up the cards that I've created here. I have cut some cardstock here. It's just a flat piece of pink cardstock to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Putting some strong adhesive around the back of my card here, and I'm going to glue it right on top. It's just a fun and different card with the flowers kind of hanging off the edge, and it just flips open to show the inside where you can write a message. And check out the amount of shimmer that you get on the cardstock also. These are absolutely beautiful pens. Okay, so now I wanted to show you how I put together the vellum cards. On this, I did it a little bit differently. I decided to cut off most of the back flap, except for an inch there at the top. So I'm just going to glue this flap onto a regular note card, top folding note card. So it's just kind of an overlay. I'm using some strong double-sided tape here. You will see this tape through the vellum a little bit. It doesn't really bother me since it's on the back of the card. But if it does bother you, you could cover up this with a piece of cardstock. Put an added piece of cardstock on the back of the card. So I'm removing the release paper. I have a top folding pool colored note card here. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm just going to glue that flap right to the back. And there we have a vellum overlay on our card. Now again, if you want to hide that adhesive on the back, you could just put a piece of white cardstock over it. But I don't know, this didn't bother me to have that little bit showing. So you can see how beautiful that overlay is onto the card. So that wraps up the 4 cards. Now, before I talk about the pens a little bit more, if you want to see pictures of these cards, you can head over to my blog, which I'll provide a link to, and you can see much more. Okay, so now I want to talk about the 2 types of shimmer pens. I don't like doing comparison videos because I don't like to make one product look better than another because everything is a personal preference. So I was excited when I found out I liked both of these. There are things that I like about both of them. So I'll talk about those. So the Spectrum Noir is the bigger pen, the black one that you see on the left. The Zig Wink of Stella is the white one that's a little bit smaller that you see on the right. Now the name of the color is on the cap of the Spectrum Noir and the Zig, but I do like that the Zig Wink of Stella also has the color code on the pen itself, so you don't mix up your pen caps with your pens. I haven't compared how much fluid is in the 2, but I assume that there is a bit more fluid in the Spectrum Noir because the pen is bigger. Before I show using these pens, I do want to show you how to activate them because a lot of people ask. For the Spectrum Noir, you just take the top off and remove the yellow ring. It just slides right off. Then you go ahead and put the pen back together. This activates it and allows the fluid to start flowing. So you want to screw that on tight, then put the lid on and shake the daylights out of it. You really want to shake this product up. They say it doesn't matter which way you store it as long as you shake it every time. Next, I just gently squeeze the black barrel of the pen until I see the color flow to the tip of the brush. And then I scribble it off on scrap paper and wipe the tip clean just very quickly, and then it seems to be ready to go. It's really most important to shake it every time you use it to make sure you have an even kind of flow of the shimmer. Okay, now I wanted to show you how to activate the Wink of Stella. It's very similar. You take the pen apart, remove the black ring, put it back together tightly, shake the living daylights out of it, squeeze it on the white barrel till you see the product flow to the tip, and then I like to scribble it on scrap paper and then wipe the tip off with a dry cloth. I find that it comes out a lot of shimmer when you first do this, but then it kind of calms down and evens out. I will say that from my own personal experience, I seem to get better control of how much comes out with the Wink of Stella. One big difference between the 2 is that the Spectrum Noir shimmer pen has a much bigger brush tip than the Wink of Stella brush tip. Now both work great. I do find that more seems to come out with the Spectrum Noir than with the Wink of Stella, but I like the quality of the Wink of Stella tip a bit better. It seems to be a bit higher quality, but I do believe it costs a bit more than the Spectrum Noir. So really, it just depends on what's important to you. I did put together a color chart of most of the colors that the 2 lines come in. I don't have all the colors, but I have most, and I will put this up on my blog. I will say, with both pens, the color of the fluid is what is colored, not the shimmer itself. So the shimmer is just the same in all of them. The fluid is colored. So you can see you get a lot of shimmer with the Spectrum Noir. You get about the same with the Wink of Stella. Maybe a little bit less shimmer, but not really noticeable at all. Now in the Spectrum Noir, the shimmer itself seems to be more silvery. In the Wink of Stella, it seems to be more champagne-y, like a warm silver. But I really like both of them, to be honest with you. You'll notice also that there aren't many color overlaps between the 2. So if you really like these shimmer pens, you could get both lines and not have much overlap, or you can pick and choose which colors you like from each. Now look at the clear swatches between the 2. On the left is a Spectrum Noir, and the shimmer is a kind of a cool shimmer, whereas the shimmer with the Wink of Stella on the right is a warm shimmer. You can see the color difference there. It's pretty subtle, so whichever you like is really up to you. Now, I do like that Wink of Stella has a silver shimmer, a gold shimmer, a black shimmer, and even a white shimmer that you can use on dark cardstock. So that's something to keep in mind too. I wanted to show you a difference between the cool shimmer and the warm shimmer between the 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on black cardstock here. Lila really likes these pens, so she was waiting for me to be done with them. So that's why you see her hand coming in here. She plays with these all the time. Okay, so on the left is the Wink of Stella, on the right is the Spectrum Noir, and you can see the difference here. Okay, so in summary, I really like both of the lines, and I think you could do just fine with either of them. They're both great products, but to compare the advantages, the Spectrum Noir does come in more colors. There are even some light colors. The fluid does seem to blend a bit better with water or with each other when you're working on paper. It doesn't become as permanent. The price point is also a little bit lower. And you can also get a 3-pack of the clear pens. Now for the Wink of Stella, I like the colors of it better. I do like that there is this silver, gold, and white and black with it. I find it's maybe a bit higher quality product, and it's just something I've used for a long time and I've liked. So you'll be seeing me use both of these lines in future videos, but do know that you can use them interchangeably, and you can do a lot with just the clear shimmer pens alone. I will try to share some more fun ways to use these pens in future videos, and you can find this color comparison over on my blog if you want to check that out. Thanks for sticking around for a super long video. You can find more information on my blog by clicking there on the top left on my logo. In the middle are 3 videos where I show how to use the clear Wink of Stella pen alone with markers to get some beautiful shimmering coloring. You could use the Spectrum Noir here also, so be sure to check those 3 out. Thanks so much for watching and bearing with me, and I'll see you again soon.